Having $100,000 saved might sound normal. Online, it almost feels expected. Scroll through social media and you'll see people talking about six-figure portfolios, investment accounts, and passive income like it's just part of everyday life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't even close. Not $80,000, not $50,000, not even $10,000. In reality, crossing $100,000 in savings or investments quietly places someone ahead of a huge percentage of adults, which raises a strange question. If so few people actually reach this milestone, why does it feel like everyone already has? Meet Daniel. Daniel earns about $85,000 a year. He lives in a nice apartment, drives a new SUV, and upgrades his phone every year. His Instagram looks great. Weekend trips, dinners out, new gadgets. From the outside, Daniel looks financially successful. But if you opened his bank account today, you'd see something surprising. He has about $3,200 in savings. That's it. Now meet Maya. Maya earns $62,000 a year. She shares an apartment with a roommate. Her car is 9 years old. She rarely upgrades her phone and cooks most of her meals at home. Nothing about her lifestyle looks impressive. But last year, something interesting happened. Maya quietly crossed $100,000 invested. No celebration posts, no lifestyle upgrades, just a six-figure investment account growing quietly in the background. Now wait, this is where things get interesting. Maya earns more money. Daniel spends more money. But Maya is the one building real wealth. So what's actually going on here? Here's the thing. Most people don't actually compare wealth. They compare lifestyles. You see someone driving a new car, taking vacations, eating at nice restaurants, and your brain automatically assumes one thing. They must be doing well financially. But lifestyle is not wealth. Lifestyle is spending. And spending is the easiest financial signal to fake. A car loan can create the illusion of success overnight. A credit card can finance a vacation. A payment plan can turn almost anything into something that looks affordable. Now think about what you almost never see. You don't see someone's brokerage account. You don't see their retirement balance. You don't see their emergency fund. Those numbers stay invisible. So the brain fills in the gaps. And it usually guesses wrong. This creates a strange financial illusion. The people who look rich often aren't, and the people quietly building wealth rarely look impressive at all. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. The real reason most people never reach $100,000 in savings isn't income. It's something much harder to notice, and the math behind it is brutal. Let's do some uncomfortable math. Imagine two people. Both earn around $70,000 a year. The first person saves almost nothing, maybe $100 here and there, but most of the income disappears into rent, upgrades, subscriptions, and lifestyle. After 10 years, their savings might still be under $10,000. Now look at the second person. They simply invest $500 a month. Nothing extreme, no lottery wins, no crazy crypto bets, just $500 a month invested into a basic index fund earning about 7% per year. After 10 years, that becomes roughly $86,000. After 15 years, it becomes around $160,000. Same income, completely different outcome. Now here's the brutal part. Most people don't fail because they can't save $500 a month. They fail because small lifestyle upgrades slowly consume that $500 before it ever reaches an investment account. A slightly nicer apartment, a car payment, food delivery a few times a week, streaming services, subscriptions. Individually, none of these look dangerous, but together they quietly erase the path to $100,000. And this is where the real trap begins. So why does this happen to so many people? It's not because they're lazy, and it's not because they don't understand saving. It's because of three powerful psychological forces. The first one is lifestyle inflation. Every time income increases, spending quietly expands to match it. A small raise turns into a nicer apartment, then a better car, then slightly more expensive vacations. Nothing feels extreme in the moment, but over time, every raise disappears into upgrades. The second force is identity spending. People don't just buy things because they need them, they buy things to signal success. A certain phone, a certain car, a certain neighborhood. These purchases feel like proof that life is moving forward, but financially, they often move people backward. And the third force is short-term dopamine. Buying something feels good immediately. Saving money feels invisible. There's no excitement in watching a brokerage account grow slowly over years. So the brain naturally prefers spending today over investing for a future that feels far away. And this is exactly why the first $100,000 is so difficult to reach. Because until you cross that line, almost all progress depends on your discipline. This leads to a milestone that quietly changes everything. Think of it as the 100K wall. The first $100,000 is the hardest money you will ever build. Not because the number is magical, but because of how the mechanics of money work. Before 100K, almost all growth comes from you, your deposits, your discipline, your ability to say no to things most people say yes to. If you invest $500 a month, most of your progress in the early years comes from those deposits. Your money isn't doing much yet. But once the account approaches $100,000, something interesting begins to happen. The investments start pulling their own weight. At 7% growth, $100,000 can generate about $7,000 in a single year, without you adding anything. Now imagine continuing to invest on top of that. Suddenly, the account starts moving faster. This is why experienced investors repeat the same idea again and again. The first $100,000 is brutal. The second $100,000 is momentum. So how do people actually break through the 100K wall? Not with complicated strategies. Most of the time, it comes down to a few simple rules. Rule 1. Pay your future self first. The moment income hits your account, a portion moves automatically into investments. Not at the end of the month, at the beginning. Because whatever stays in your spending account will eventually get spent. Rule 2. Delay lifestyle upgrades. When income rises, the instinct is to immediately upgrade life. Better apartment, new car, more expensive habits. But if every raise becomes a new expense, your savings rate stays stuck. Instead, capture part of every raise and send it to investments.
Rule 3. Focus on the first $100,000. Don't obsess over complicated investing tricks. At this stage, the real engine is your contributions. Consistency beats perfection. And Rule 4, make time your partner. You don't need huge deposits. What you need is time in the market. Because compounding doesn't look impressive in the beginning, but once momentum builds, the curve starts bending upward. This is where most people need a quiet mindset shift. Because the world teaches us to measure success through visible things. The car you drive, the watch on your wrist, the vacation photos. But those things are not wealth. They are spending. Real wealth is much quieter. It's the ability to handle an emergency without panic. It's the ability to walk away from a bad job. It's the ability to make decisions without constantly worrying about money. That's what savings really buy. Options, freedom, breathing room. And when someone crosses $100,000 invested, something subtle changes. The stress around money starts to ease, not because they are rich, but because the foundation finally exists. Money is no longer just coming in and going out. It's starting to stay. Now let's be honest about something. $100,000 does not make someone rich. In many places, it wouldn't even cover a house. But financially, it changes your position on the field. Because getting from 0 to 100,000 is almost entirely powered by your discipline. But getting from 100,000 to 200,000 starts to involve something new: momentum. At 7% growth, $100,000 can add about $7,000 in a year. At 200,000, that becomes roughly 14,000. At 500,000, it becomes 35,000. Notice what's happening. The same market return suddenly creates larger and larger dollar gains. The system finally begins working with you instead of against you. This is why people who reach the first $100,000 often see their net worth accelerate afterward. The early years feel slow, sometimes painfully slow. But once the snowball starts rolling, the math begins doing more of the work. So here's the strange reality. Online, it feels like everyone already has six-figure savings, investment accounts, passive income, early retirement plans. But the actual numbers tell a very different story. Crossing $100,000 already puts someone ahead of far more people than most realize. Not because they were lucky, not because they had some secret investing strategy, but because they consistently did something most people struggle to do. They delayed upgrades, they invested regularly, and they let time do its quiet work. Which leads to a simple question. Are you trying to look financially successful, or are you quietly building the kind of life where money stops controlling your choices?